Welcome to Movie Life Crisis. Join us as we watch the best movies from 30 years ago.
Just outside of Chicago, in the basement of this house.
Wayne's World, party time, excellent.
Broadcast history is about to be made.
I want you to find out who these guys are and where they do their show.
What is this?
Mr. Vanderhoff, this is your audience.
It's two chimps on a Davenport in a basement.
Here I am with the contract for $5,000.
Excuse me?
Now they're on their way
No way. Wait.
to fame, to fortune, and to babe heaven.
What do you do if every time you see this one incredible woman, you think you're gonna hurl?
I say hurl. If you blow chunks and she comes back, she's yours. If you spew and she bolts, it was never meant to be.
Okay.
It's Wade.
This is definitely the type of place I'm gonna get when I move out of my parents' house.
It's Garth.
I love you, Garth.
If she were a president, she'd be Abraham Lincoln.
Wayne's World.
Hi, Wayne.
It just might be the greatest motion picture ever made.
Are you mental?
Wayne's World.
All right, Wayne's World. Dude, I wish you had any idea how long I spent editing that trailer to try to take out every note of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Just so we wouldn't get busted with the copyright thing?
Just so we wouldn't get hammered with copyright infringement, because it's all through the trailer and we can't afford Bohemian Rhapsody on this show.
Yeah, we can't. Wow. It's not until you put all of the different quotes back to back where they call people babe that I realized how much they talk about that in this movie.
Yeah, dude, a ton. Movie Life Crisis, I'm JT, you're Jeff. Season 2, Episode 4, Wayne's World. Party time. Excellent.
Party on, Wayne, and party on, Garth.
With the announcer, your name's Garth? Hey, here's what I'm saying. If Rob Lowe comes to us and says he has a check for $5,000 to buy the rights to our podcast, I'm signing, you're signing, we're all signing.
We're all signing. Guy's got a nice trailer.
Yeah, we're taking the money.
Then I'm dancing all the way to the car singing, I got $5,000.
I got five. Dude, I was actually thinking like this movie is absolutely freaking, this is the story of how we want the podcast to go. We're two idiots. We don't live in our parents' basements, but we are two idiots, and we want someone to give us a bunch of money to do the same thing that we do for free, but for money.
Absolutely. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, are there still arcades? Can we get that sponsor?
You know, that's the same exact thing I literally typed on my note sheet was, are there even arcades still around?
Brian Doyle Murray's going to have a backup plan because the arcades are all gone now.
Noah's Arcade. My wife came up with that.
just came to her.
It just came out.
All right. So before we get too far into it, you guys, you all listened to our pleas and skipped the Under Siege episode, which was very smart. According to the data, no one listened. That's wonderful. Well done. Except for some diehards, and we especially appreciate your commitment. Thank you for that, you absolute maniacs.
Wait, before you go on, while you're talking about the data, I think this is the perfect time to say this. I teach a history at a public school in Louisiana. I have this huge map on the back of my back wall of my classroom. I've been putting push pins in every weird place that we've had somebody download the podcast. We get this data that tells us, hey, this is the city, this is the state, or this is the city, this is the country. And I've been putting these push pins everywhere. We finally got one in South America.
Nice.
We have some down in like Australasia, like Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
We got some in Asia. We have some in India, the subcontinent of India. We have a bunch in Europe.
Yeah.
But we're missing some in Africa, and I don't have any in Antarctica.
Yeah.
So it would be really nice if any of you guys listen to this and have friends in weird places that you can say like, hey, just for giggles, will you please pull this up and hit play? Let it count as a download so that I can show my students and we can all put the push pin where it needs to be.
Yeah, you've sent me pictures of the map. It's pretty awesome, and I like putting the push pins in new places. Like I know I have a friend in Portugal who is a surgeon, and he said, "Yeah, I played the podcast during a surgery while the patient was conscious because he said he really liked movies." I was like, "Dude, that's amazing!" So got a hit in Portugal. We charted in the Netherlands a couple weeks ago, which I think means that like 2 people in the Netherlands listens. That's what it takes.
Both of them.
But yeah. If you know any people who live in interesting places, please say, hey, just press play on this thing one time for us so that we can get it on the map.
I'm serious. My students, at the end of the week, we got some free time at the end of one of the classes. They're like, pull up the thing. Let's see if we got some new places.
Yeah, especially if you know anybody at McMurdo Station in Antarctica or if you know anybody on the International Space Station. I want to get those.
Ooh, both of those would be awesome. That's good stuff.
Okay, this week's review title is Amazing Memories, 5 stars. These guys have it down. Every episode I listen to brings me back to good times. I laugh to tears at some of the references they make to the times I remember. You gotta listen. Once you start, you can't wait for the next one. Best hour or so spent in a long time.
Wow.
That was not from Apple or anything. That was actually a review left on our website, movielifecrisis.com. And I didn't have a name for it, but I very much appreciate that. That's fantastic.
That's really cool. I'm glad we can do that. Because it does the same thing for us, too. Because we're just giggling and remembering stuff. It's fun.
I don't think anybody listening is having as much fun as we are doing it. But if they're having fun at all, I'm delighted.
Yeah, agreed.
And if you leave us a review, there's a chance that we'll read it on the show. So if you would like to do that, please feel free to go ahead and do it. This movie, Wayne's World, was one of the biggest movies of 1992. I think it was in the top 5.
Yeah, number 4.
Number 4. And before we get into it, we're going to do Name That Tune. Are you ready?
Damn it. I thought you forgot, to be completely honest.
Here we go. Lock it in. Dude, you're going to be so upset. This has been stuck in my head for so long. I've been wanting to talk to you about it. Somebody too much. This is Sometimes Love Just Ain't Enough. Patti Smith and Don Henley.
Yes. Patti Smith and Don Henley.
I had to put that song on some of our bedtime playlists for the baby because I freaking like it so much, and I love Don Henley's harmonies.
Don Henley, he writes some really great lyrics and some catchy harmonies. Dang
and
it.
He didn't write that. Patti Smith wrote it, but that song was so big in that year and was so good and so memorable, and it totally slipped through the cracks. I had forgotten it existed.
If you would have played that intro 6 more times, I would have had it.
But dude, that song got as high as number 2 on the Billboard charts in the U.S. It got number 1 a bunch of other places. Guess what was number 1 in the U.S. when that thing hit number 2?
Informer by Snow.
Into the Road.
I have no idea. Oh, of course it was.
Because Into the Road spent most of 92 at number 1.
Can't believe I missed it.
It's so good. I was so happy that because I read the Billboard Hot 100 for 92 and I just type the songs into YouTube and I look at them. And when that one came up, I was like, during the intro, I was like, what the heck is this? And then the chorus hit, and I was like, oh shit, I remember this song. This song's amazing.
That makes me upset that I didn't get it because now I definitely know.
Yeah, you got to put that on some playlists. That's a good one. All right, Wayne's World. Give us a synopsis.
2 slacker friends try to promote their public access cable show.
Like we said, it's basically the story of how we want this podcast to go. The stupid little show that these 2 idiots do in their parents' basement gets discovered by a slimy guy, Rob Lowe. He sells it to a guy who wants to use it to promote his arcade business, and then it's a bunch of wackiness that happens after that.
Rob Lowe's really good at playing that part.
I listened to his podcast for a while until I got tired of how much he talked about Rob Lowe, but he's not slimy, but he's played slimy so well so many times.
Like Tommy Boy, when he played that.
Yeah, he's the exact same character again.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, he's good at that.
He's really good at that.
I hope that our podcast takes off like Wayne's World. They can change the theme song. They can say my name however they want to say it.
They can absolutely change the theme song. I don't care at all.
We have a theme song?
Yeah, we don't even. This movie, $20 million budget, $183 million gross. This thing is massive, makes an absolute shit pile of money, and was made for a nickel.
Yeah, that's way good. And you could tell it was made for a nickel, though.
Dude, you totally can. They shot it in 34 days, on a hiatus for Saturday Night Live. And Mike Myers had never been in a movie before. And so you could just tell the director said, yeah, we really only got 1 or maybe 2 takes at most of this. And when I saw her say that, I said, that makes a lot of sense watching it.
Yeah,
because all of it was not very good.
Yeah, and I was reading a lot of the stuff where there were almost all of the funny stuff, the takes that everybody likes. That's just Mike Myers and Dana Carvey doing their thing and just vamping like they do on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, totally. Just improving. And they talked about that. They're like, we had a script and it was a great script, but sometimes Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, they're just going to come up with stuff that's way better than what's written. And even if we only have 2 takes, it's we got to do another one to get that because that's better than what we had.
Mike Myers, he was, dude, I still think he's funny.
I love Mike Myers. We missed So I Married an Axe Murderer. No, we didn't. That's coming up, right? So I Married an Axe Murderer? It's a couple of years.
I think it is. Good luck me not using that voice for the whole freaking time.
It's like an orange and a toothpick. It's got a huge melon.
He's got to cry yourself to sleep on your huge pillow.
Oh, God, I can't wait. I got to look that up. Sequel spinoffs. We get Wayne's World 2 next year, maybe, or the year after.
We do get Wayne's World 2 next year. We also have a Wayne's World video game that was released on Super Nintendo, Game Boy, and Sega Genesis.
Oh, snap. I did not see that. We get So I Married an Axe Murderer next year also, by the way.
Nice. Yeah. So Super Nintendo, Game Boy, Sega Genesis, it's about Garth getting sucked into a video game and Wayne has to go in and save him. And it's really bad.
Of course it's really bad. We should probably, I mean, I feel like people know this, but maybe they don't. We should say that this movie was based on a sketch at Saturday Night Live that Mike Myers came up with and put Dana Carvey in. And it was the second Saturday Night Live movie. So before this was Blues Brothers, and that movie was really successful. And so they said, the story's like Mike Myers asked Lorne Michaels, the executive producer of Saturday Night Live, said, can we do Wayne's World as a movie? And Lorne said, yes.
To me, this is still a success, right? $20 million to make it, and you make 183.
Yeah, it's the most successful SNL movie ever, as far as like just flat out money goes. It's not the best.
But it's not the best.
The best one to me is Tommy Boy, but this is the most commercially successful.
Tommy Boy kills it.
Yeah.
Did you want to do awards?
Oh yeah. Go ahead, hit awards.
Let's do awards. So MTV Movie and TV Awards of '92. It won the MTV Movie Award for Best On-Screen Duo with Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. It had a nominee for Best Comedic Performance for Dana Carvey, Best Comedic Performance for Mike Myers, and I found this weird but totally on brand for the 90s. Most Desirable Female, Tia Carrere. Most Desirable Female? That was a category?
Oh, man.
Why don't we just go with, like, biggest boobs?
Cool. Thanks, MTV.
In the VMAs, the Music Awards, Video Music Awards, it won Best Video from a Film for the Queen Bohemian Rhapsody Wayne's World version.
Yeah.
Which I used to love when that came out.
Absolutely. That should have won whatever awards it was up for, because that was amazing.
It did. But that's all the awards I had.
Okay, good deal. Do you remember when and where you first saw this movie?
All right, so we talked about how it came from SNL.
Yeah.
I can remember, so I'm like 7th, 8th grade at this time. There's a lot of people that come to school. You know how we talk about, like, now you just pull up a YouTube clip and you show somebody the thing. But before, you just had to quote it to them.
Yes.
And then if somebody else knew it, they would quote it back at you. Well, SNL was like, I guess funny back then, but I never watched it.
Yeah, same.
I wasn't a huge SNL fan. I mean, I'd seen bits of it, and I knew Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, but this was my first like introduction to Wayne and Garth characters. So like I didn't like it wasn't until somebody said like, "Oh, dude, you don't know that? I can't believe it. You got to check it out." And I went to like Alfalfa and rented it, and it wasn't like, and I watched it and I was like, "Okay, cool. Now I get it." But like, I never saw it in the theater. And it wasn't until like I recorded it on HBO that I even started like quoting it.
I think that because Wendy said that this movie was really big with her age group when it came out. She was a couple of years older. So she was in high school when this came out. And you and I were in middle school. And I think if you were in high school and this movie came out, I could see that it would be a really definitive movie for you. Yeah. Or if you're like really into heavy metal, but you and I were in junior high and we weren't into heavy metal. So I never cared about this movie. I mean, I saw it and I liked it, but it wasn't like a definitive movie for me growing up. I don't have anything for when I first saw this movie because, again, it wasn't as important to me as it was for people just a couple years older. But what I was thinking about, because I looked up the Patti Smith song and I saw that it was behind End of the Road on the charts. And I remember I have a story about End of the Road because End of the Road comes out in 1992, Boyz II Men. It's the biggest song of the year by a long shot. And I loved Boyz II Men. I had Cooley High Harmony, their debut album. End of the Road was not on that album. End of the Road came out on the Boomerang soundtrack this year. Right. But like, I mean, you got to understand, like pre-internet, I just know, like I love this song when I hear it on the radio. I'm freaking obsessed with the song and I can't find it. I want to purchase it. I want to give someone money and have a copy of it for myself. And I can't find it.
It's not until I bought the CD that I even had it on CD because Cooley High Harmony, the re-release.
The re-release has like not only Into the Road, but also Al Final del Camino, the Spanish version of Into the Road.
The Spanish version.
Yeah, so it's got a bunch of...
Big and knew every single word to it.
Yeah, totally. Sé que tú me quieres. I joined Columbia House trying to buy Into the Road. I was buying any like band that was like four black guys that had boys in the name. There was like 3 or 4 of them. I was like, I'll just get that one. Maybe that's it. Maybe they changed the name.
Boys with a Z. You gotta look for Boys with a Z.
Well, yeah, I know that now, but I'm like, I'm like 11 or 12 at the time, and I'm getting it's like 8 CDs for a nickel or something, or like
all for a penny.
8 for a penny, and then
all you got to buy is 3.
You got to pay shipping and handling, and then they put you on like a subscription plan, like now every app does, and they have you forever. Yeah. But I just kept like, well, I was like, well, it'll come out at some point. Like, let me buy another copy of Cooley High Harmony. Still not. So like, I spent like all of 92 trying to purchase music to get a copy of Into the Road, and I never could do it.
You just got to record it on your tape deck. As soon as the guy stops talking, press record.
I think that's what I ended up having to do. But I just really I wish that there was a way to describe that to where people who didn't grow up in that time period understood what kind of efforts you had to put in to try to secure a copy of music that you wanted when it wasn't out yet.
You know, you could always go to Sound Shop or Music Express and ask the guy, hey, I'd like to have Into the Road, so they can laugh at you like Barry from High Fidelity.
That's what I'm saying. You could go to either of our like local music stores, but if you were a kid like I was and you're 11 or 12 and you have braces and long hair and you ask about Into the Road, you're going to get laughed out of the store.
Absolutely.
They can help you find Soundgarden or Spin Doctors, but they're not going to help with Boyz II Men.
Spin Doctors. I would venture to say that if I could find my Cooley High Harmony CD, somewhere on there has a Sound Shop sticker on it.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. So anyway, that is a huge diversion or a sidebar or whatever the hell you want to call it. But I wanted to at some point talk to people about Columbia House and the efforts that we had to go through to try to find music in the early 90s before the internet.
Since we already brought up Biggin, I would just like to say that he joined Columbia House under many names, kept all of the CDs for a penny, and then said, I'm sorry, you're sending this to the wrong house. I am not Christopher Broen.
I'm not IP Freely.
Yeah, that is not my name. My name is not Jess, first name Hugh.
Oh, man, that's fantastic. How many chimney dogs you got for this?
I gave it 8.
Nice.
When I first started, I was like, nah, this isn't as funny as I remember. But then as I got into it, I was like, you know what? It's pretty good.
Yeah, I gave it a 6. I got 6 out of 10. There were a lot of individual elements that I liked, but I think the performances were so bad because they had so little experience and they were so rushed that it really was hard for me, because the whole time I was like, man, that's Mike Myers trying to do Wayne, but he's not doing it very well.
Right.
But it's super quotable. It had a bunch of stuff in it that I really liked. It had a bunch of people in it that I really liked. And I had like 6 quotes that I think are really like genius.
Agreed. To me, the way they acted it out, it didn't matter. Like seeing like Mike Myers turn to the camera and like smile and go, all right, and tuck his hair behind his ear.
Yeah.
All the time. Like it started to bother me towards the end, but I was just like, that's the character he's playing. I like it. I don't know. Again, at the very beginning, I was like, what the hell is this? He did the Ferris Bueller walkthrough where he's talking to the camera. By the end, I was like, I'm glad I watched that. I would watch that again.
I'm sure I'll watch it again. I'm glad I watched it. I'm not in a big hurry to watch it again, but I definitely enjoyed it. All right, best scenes. What's your first scene?
The scene that I think about the most when I think about Wayne's World is when Russell is teaching the stoner kids that work with Wayne and Garth how to count down from 5. And they're going, all right, you go 5, 4, 3.
And then you mouth the 2 and the 1.
And you mouth the 2 and the 1, and then you point. And he goes, you didn't say 2 or 1. He goes, yeah, you just don't say 2 or 1. He's like, why? He's like, you just don't. And then they go down there and do it. And fucking Wayne and Garth are nodding their heads.
And they're mouthing the words.
Oh, man. For some reason, that's just what I think of. And if we don't start the podcast like that from now on, I'm going to be very upset.
Oh, man. When Rob Lowe buys the show and then we're using it to promote arcade games, we'll definitely count it in just like that. Mike Jones and Little Will and my brother can all come on board and be our idiot crew.
Yes.
I can't believe you think of anything about this movie more than the Bohemian Rhapsody scene.
Dude, so the Bohemian Rhapsody scene, that's one of my scenes on there. It's definitely on there. And when I hear that song, for some reason, I picture Wayne. I can picture them in the car.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. I just don't, I don't even think about that as much as I think about Like when Cece's like, all right, I'm going to take my medicine. And I'll go, all right, ready? I'll count down 5, 4, 3. And then I don't say 2, I don't say 1. And then I point and she takes it and nobody laughs except me.
And you got it. And after the one, you have to point like you're Tiger Woods and you're doing the like uppercut arm swing.
Yes, swing it through.
Yeah. Bohemian Rhapsody is my number one. It's the 5 of them in their freaking tiny AMC Pacer listening to a tape of Queen and all singing along.
That's literally what I put, tape of Queen.
Yeah. Well, once they got the check from Rob Lowe, he put in a CD player, but he didn't install a CD player in the car. He just freaking Velcroed one onto the dash like we used to do.
On the dash. And I'm sure that had the electronic skip protection, the ESP.
I think this is before electronic skip protection even existed. I guess the Pacer must have had really good shocks. But yeah, the Bohemian Rhapsody scene is, I think, one of the most famous scenes from this movie. And there's a bunch of really good information about it. Like Bohemian Rhapsody is the only song to have ever hit number 1 in 3 different decades. And the second time was when this movie came out. It sent that song back to number 1. The third time was when the Bohemian Rhapsody movie came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was really good too. Yeah, I also read that the studio wanted to use a Guns N' Roses song for them to headbang to. But Mike Myers like insisted on Bohemian Rhapsody as the song to use. And then
Mike Myers insisted on a lot of stuff throughout this movie, so much so that like half the people on it won't even talk to him anymore. But yeah, he definitely insisted on that.
Dude, it worked out for me. I like that.
Yeah, you could tell. I don't know if you caught this, but I definitely did. Dana Carvey didn't know the words.
Yeah, he was just
so when he was lip syncing, he would just move his mouth open and close like. And I watched a little 20-minute behind the scenes thing with the director and with those two and with Lorne Michaels. And he even said, he's like, yeah, I was supposed to learn the lyrics. I thought that I had learned them. And then once we started shooting the scene, I realized that I hadn't. And we just had to he was like, but in my head, I just made it a character choice that like Garth doesn't know the lyrics, but he wants to be a part.
Yeah, that's kind of how I read it.
Yeah,
too.
And he was like, and it worked out perfectly. But also, like the director was saying that like she made them do the shots so many times that they all like threw their necks out headbanging, and Mike Myers was getting really mad. He was like, "I can't swing my head like this. This is gonna look stupid. Let's just cut this out."
Oh man, don't cut it out. I'm glad they kept it.
Yeah, agreed.
Like I was reading about how Mike Myers like threatened to quit if they didn't use that song, and like I'm gonna go home and take my ball with me. Yeah. And that Freddie Mercury actually he died a few months before the film's release, but he saw that clip and then gave him the thumbs up and said it's okay to use it. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man, that's freaking phenomenal.
Freddie Mercury gives you the thumbs up for using his thing.
Well, and the thing is like Queen had a big resurgence in the early 90s, and I think it must have been kicked off by this movie because I had a Queen greatest hits double disc CD after this movie came out.
I remember that. It was like maroon.
Yeah. It was like one of them was like dark navy blue and one of them was maroon. It was a 2-disc.
Yeah.
And I got into Queen and I've loved Queen ever since, but this was where I got into it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, what else? What other scenes?
Yeah, I put that on mine. My next best scene was when they're standing around the craft table and they're talking about not putting Noah's Arcade on the show, and they're like, "I will not bow to corporate sponsors," and they keep like lifting up the pizza box and eating it perfect, and it's like, I don't know, all this is just giving me a headache. He's like, "Here, try these. Nuprin, little, yellow, different." All of the like Nuprin, first of all, they don't even make that anymore. I'm pretty sure it's just ibuprofen.
And then Garth, they cut to Garth. He's dressed in head to toe Reebok.
All Reebok.
Like he's going to the freaking Atlanta Olympics. It's all red, white, and blue.
Yeah. So like that one stuck with me too. I will not bow to corporate sponsors. I've said that on a few occasions.
Well, dude, that's the thing that's so good about this movie. There's so many like really funny, subversive, like kind of satire stuff like that. Blatant product placement, little bit in the middle of it. It's like 3 minutes long, and it's just them. It's like 6 different like Mike Myers like faces the camera, lifts up a box of pizza so you can see the Pizza Hut logo, and then takes a piece of pizza out and bites into it while saying like, "I will not bow to."
And he holds the Pepsi just right. It's like, "Hey, yeah, it's your choice. And it's the choice of a new generation."
And they hold the aspirin bottle like they're in the commercial, like a finger on top and a finger on the bottom so you can see the whole label.
That's how people hold aspirin. Don't be fooled.
I had the subtitles in Cantonese when he was talking to Cassandra, Tia Carrera, because he's like, "Oh, I learned a little Cantonese." And it's so stupid. It's so corny. But they have this long conversation after he's done like 20 minutes of Cantonese study. But they do the thing where like he says like 3 words out loud, and then the subtitles run for like 25 seconds, and it's like 2 paragraphs of information, and he's like looking at the screen while it's happening.
Yeah, he's like looking around. She's waiting. They're both put their hands on their heads. Yeah.
And like they break the fourth wall a bunch. Wayne and Garth both talk to the camera throughout the whole movie. Like I like this is so stupid, but I just really like stuff like that. It's definitely like a Ferris Bueller type of vibe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't. At first, I was thinking like, oh man, I'm not going to like this. Now I'm starting to remember what it's like, but I was wrong. I do have 2 more because we talked about all 3 of mine. But I did have 2 that were off to the side. The airplane scene when they're like laying on the car and the plane's flying over.
Yeah, that's my 3rd.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Not when they're like arguing with each other by the airport.
No, when they're like having a good time laying on the hood.
Yeah.
And they're making each other laugh.
I always wanted to do that.
You just lay on the hood of a car while a plane lands.
Yeah, dude, and you go out there to like freaking Kenner, and there's the road that goes right on, like you can freaking throw a football to the back end of the runway. I always wanted to do that, and I never.
You should jump over the fence and go do like pushing 10, like John Cusack and Billy Bob Thornton do, and lay on the actual tarmac when the plane lands.
And just get them flying backwards. Pushing 10, that's a deep cut, man.
Write in and tell us if you remember the movie Pushing 10.
Yeah, everybody remembers that. They definitely remember slowing down the VCR and pausing at that part where Angelina Jolie shows her boobies.
Yeah.
No, I've always wanted to go to Kenner and do that, but I never did, and I wanted to.
I had that scene where they were laying on the hood of the Pacer waiting for the plane to land, and the reason was that Dana Carvey just goes like, hey, did you ever, when Bugs Bunny wore a dress, were you ever attracted to Bugs Bunny as a woman? And Mike Myers has this like really long, really genuine laugh. And it's by far the best acting moment for Mike Myers in the entire movie. And when I watched some of the featurettes, I realized the reason why is that he actually was laughing. Dana Carvey had done some improv that had really like cracked him up, not the Bugs Bunny thing.
Yeah, just made it up.
And the director just cut he cut his reaction shot into that Bugs Bunny line.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Myers is an okay actor, but he's terrible in this movie because he's brand new to movies and they have no time to reshoot anything. They only get 1 take. But that was a great moment, and it's because Dana Carvey actually had improv something that like killed him, and I just thought that was
actually made him laugh. Yeah. The last thing that I put on the side is when they go to Benjamin's apartment, and he was like, "Ooh, who wants Chinese? I know a great place." And then he orders in Mandarin,
in Cantonese,
and then right at the end, and he goes, "Pepsi Cola, Mountain Dew, Xingdui," and then hangs up. I don't know why. But that stuck with me for a long time too.
Oh man, Rob Lowe said in the same I only watched a 20-minute video, but it was chock full of information. Rob Lowe said that he had a phonetic tape of that Cantonese dialogue for him ordering food, and he played it in his car to and from set every single day until that scene was shot, just so that he could get that down.
Well, he nailed it.
I guess I don't know what the hell Cantonese is supposed to sound like, but he fooled me.
Way better than Zing Da Bin Dua, when he just kept yelling it while he was. While he was getting the gremlin fixed.
All right, quotes. Add more quotes than I was expecting.
My first one is when Garth pulls out a Dixie cup out of his shirt and says, "Hey, Phil, if you're going to spew into this." Because every time we're in the car and Cece looks like she's going to Ralph, I say those lines out loud. And now I had to show Jake just that one part so he knew what I was talking about.
One of my quotes was also about vomit and it was in the trailer that we played at the beginning of the episode where Garth goes, what do you do if every time you see a girl you're gonna hurl? And Wayne goes, I say hurl. If you blow chunks and she comes back, she's yours forever. I couldn't find the quote. I was gonna download it to play it and I couldn't do it, but it was like
No, dude, that's a good one. I remember that one. That's when they're sitting at the donut shop.
Yeah, Stan Mikita's donut shop, where Ed O'Neill is the donut counter guy.
Oh man, your rip is still beating hard out of his chest.
It's like, whoa, what are you doing? Only Garth and I talk to the camera.
Yeah, that guy's good.
Yeah, he's great. The other one I had is when they're playing street hockey and like 3 times during the scene, car, and they move the whole net over, and then the car passes, and they go, game on!
Game on! Dude, we used to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that exact thing, Jake and I were driving out of the neighborhood, and there's some kids in the front, and they were playing basketball, and the goal was lowered down, and they held up one finger like, wait. I slowed down, we rolled the window down, and he threw it up in the air and tried to dunk it, and he missed, and we both went, oh, so close! And we pulled off, just like we used to do when we used to try to play the song Jam by Michael Jackson and actually jam when he says jam.
Yeah, right when the glass breaks in the song. And then if you could also time it when somebody was driving by, you definitely would do that.
Even if we were in mid-game and somebody would drive past, you just had to throw up a really cool shot, knowing that you would just get the ball right back because it was for the car.
Yeah, of course. I remember even out of college, like in my mid-20s, me and intern Mike Jones lived in Lafayette, and we'd go to my house and watch football. Well, he lived in Baton Rouge, I lived in Lafayette. And like during halftime, we'd go out to the street and like throw the football or throw the baseball, and we would go like, car, game on.
Yeah.
And we're like 24.
Of course. And the way that Garth's wearing the hockey mask, but he has the glasses over the top of him. That's freaking golden.
Yeah. What else? What other quote?
I have the one where Wayne's ex, Stacy,
Lara Flynn
meets
Boyle.
him at the donut shop. He's like, okay, what is it? It's a gun rack. A gun rack. A gun rack? What am I going to do with a gun rack?
I don't even own a gun.
A gun, much less many guns that would necessitate an entire rack. If you don't like it, fine. But if you're not careful, you're going to lose me. Yeah, right. I already lost you like 6 months ago. Like that whole.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Psycho Hose Beast.
I like Psycho Hose Beast, but for some like, what am I going to do with a gun rack?
That's a great one. I had a hard time choosing, honestly. I got Game On. I got the I Say Hurl. I think that the last one is a toss-up for me between the Shitty Beatles and Marriage is a Punishment for Shoplifting.
Shitty Beatles, that's friggin' Meatloaf,
I know, it's
too.
Meatloaf. They asked the bouncer at the heavy metal club who's playing tonight, and he names a bunch of bands, and he goes, yeah, the Shitty Beatles, and he goes, oh, how are they? And he's like, God, they suck. And so it's not just a clever name. And the bouncer's played by Meatloaf. And then the other one is they talk about marriage at some point, and Garth goes, marriage is punishment for shoplifting in some countries.
I don't know why, but when I looked up whether or not this was okay for kids in case I missed anything, I pulled up the website, and under positive messages, it had marriage is punishment for shoplifting in some places. And I was like, why is that a positive message? That's weird.
So anyway, that's like 4.5 quotes for me. What else you got?
Yeah, so I actually have two more. There's one every time.
Necessary Roughness all over again.
No. Just two more. One is when he says, I thought I had mono once for an entire year. It just turns out I was really bored. If I had a nickel for every time I said that, we could fund the podcast.
Oh, that is a great one. I forgot about that.
So good. I can remember saying that at work, and everybody just staring at me when I worked at CBS. It was so great. And then the last one I had is when he goes backstage with Alice Cooper, and he says, do you come to Milwaukee often? He's like, well, I'm a regular visitor here, but Milwaukee has certainly had its share of visitors. And he just goes off into this history lesson.
Yeah, I remember that when I was a kid, Alice Cooper going, it's actually pronounced a Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, the good land. When I asked Will just this past NBA Finals, I was like, "Who are you pulling for?" He spelled it out, Milwaukee. Like it's Algonquin for the good land.
Dude, I've been to Milwaukee, and I feel like I pronounced it Milwaukee at least a good portion of the time when I was there, and none of the locals were happy about that at all.
Nobody likes it. So those are the ones I had.
Nice characters.
I picked Wayne as my first one because I liked how he. Played it cool the whole time until he lost everything, but then turned it around. He had it all set where he wanted it to have it, and then everything went to shit, and he was getting shit on, remember?
Yeah.
And he's walking out of the studio, and he's freaking mad, and he loses his girl and everything, but then he turns it around and fixes it all, and I like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good character arc. I really like Mike Myers. He's made some of my absolute favorite movies, but I just didn't think he was good in this. I think because he'd never done a movie before. Like
right.
He and Rob Lowe both said, like, remembering this movie, that like he'd never been on a movie set before. Like Rob Lowe he was like, Mike had never been on a movie set before. He didn't know what call times were. He didn't know that you could check to see what scenes you were shooting the next day. He didn't know when you stood where the cameras were that there was tape on the floor to tell you where you were supposed to stand. He didn't know anything.
I didn't know any of that stuff either, so that's perfect.
I mean, I've not been in a movie, but I know if there's tape on the floor, like in an X, that's where you're supposed to stand. That's called blocking. Right. And I know that you have a time you're supposed to show up. But like Mike Myers didn't know any of that. And I just feel like watching this back now, I'm like, hey, you can tell. Like this movie is so funny and it's so like subversive and so freaking weird that it works anyway. But Like, I know Mike Myers is going, I wish we'd had like 6 takes instead of 1 or 2 for a lot of this.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of movie it would have been. I guess maybe we'll see next year when they do Wayne's World 2 when he has another crack at it.
Yeah. So I mean that was a really great arc, and I love Mike Myers, but I just didn't love the performance here, and I understand why it was that way. Brian Doyle Murray was the first one for me.
Oh,
who
man.
plays Noah of Noah's Arcade. I just love his freaking gravelly voice. I get excited about Groundhog's Day when he's going to be the mayor next year.
I was just about to say Groundhog Day.
And he didn't have that important of a part, but he just sat there with a smile on his face while Wayne and Garth made fun of him, and he never let on that like he caught it. I don't know. I just thought he did a good job.
And his wife was Smoke Show, apparently, according to that stoner.
Yes, I guess.
My second one was Benjamin.
Nice.
Because he is a slimeball character, and because Rob Lowe can make him likable. Like when he was turning it on, even though you could tell he was faking it, it was like, yeah, I would have said yes to that guy also. Just like you said, we're all signing if Rob Lowe shows up while I'm drinking my big fruity drink with all the umbrellas in it.
Yeah.
Like I would take the $5,000. I liked the way he played that character.
Yeah, I didn't. Rob Lowe was on my worst for this movie, and I don't know why. I definitely didn't like his pants that he borrowed from MC Hammer that he wore all throughout the movie.
Dude, I put that down. Every single outfit was his big brother's. Like the sleeves were big, the pants were big. Like I know it's 90s, but man.
Anyway, well, Chad should be happy that we're not agreeing. Chad, is Chad still listening? I miss you, Chad. Write in and tell us what's up, man.
Let us know, Chad.
Yeah, I don't know what I didn't like about Rob Lowe, because I really like Rob Lowe, and he's super sleazy, and he did a good job of being sleazy. But I felt like once I learned that they shot the movie in 30 days and they only had 1 take of most of this, I went, that makes sense, because a lot of good actors were doing not good jobs.
I bought what Rob Lowe was selling. I was picking up what he was putting down.
I got Garth. Garth was one of my favorite characters, and Dana Carvey said that Garth was based on his real life younger brother.
Yeah, who's super smart, huh?
Yeah, who was really smart. But he, like Dana Carvey, he's freaking genius. He just says that he's like, my brother was the kind of kid who fixed our dryer when he was 11 with a butter knife, and then he's like, "Oh, Brad, do you fix the dryer?" And he would go like, "Yes, I fixed the dryer. It will never break again." Like all of the like Garth like speech patterns and weird stuff. He's like Dana Carvey just like took that and made it Garth
straight from his brother. Dude, that
was also why Garth had all the weird props, like the freaking like cattle prod that he was like wearing on his belt that he was shocking people with, and the licorice dispenser and the pacer like mounted on the hoop.
That was weird that they even threw that in there.
Super weird, but that was like Dana Carvey like just telling the prop master, like, "Hey man, could I have a thing? And I'm gonna shock a guy with it, and then I want a licorice dispenser in my car because my brother used to invent crazy stuff."
Or like when he's banging the hammer mallet on the hand, the robot
hand. Dana Carvey said that the robot hand was supposed to be Garth was building a robot hand that was going to choke and kill Rob Lowe's character. But they never filmed anything that would have explained that. So it was just like the hand was just a totally unexplained weird scene. You never got the background for it.
I like that kind of stuff.
I do too, and that's why. Well, he said Lorne Michaels.
All this in the 20 minutes? You got all of that from that 20-minute thing?
Action packed. This freaking. I'll put it in the show notes because it was action packed. But yeah, Dana Carvey said that Lorne Michaels convinced them to leave that scene in because he said no one will understand it when they see the movie because it doesn't make any sense. There's no context. But for years and years after this, when you see this, you'll laugh that scene is in there.
Nice.
Like he's wearing a freaking helmet like a real genius. It's got cameras and shit on top of it, and then he's building a robot hand, and then he smashes it with a hammer. What other characters?
My next one, the last one I wrote down, I think Chad might like this one because you're not going to have it. Probably Russell is my next one.
Yeah.
Who is Benjamin's right-hand man.
Yeah, wears freaking tracksuits all the time.
Something about that dude I really thought was funny. Just... The part where he's wearing the tracksuit and he's like pointing the flashlight at him, and Garth's like, "All right, I got it, guys, hold on." He's like, "You're all right, man. You're in a safe place." And he steals the flashlight,
takes the batteries
and
out of the flashlight like he's unloading a pistol.
Right, dude. Something about that guy, that actor, I like.
I do too. I really like that guy. I didn't have him on my list for this, and I didn't really like that character in this movie, but I do really like that guy.
You're my guys. You're my guys. And he gives him he's like, "Can I borrow your marker? I need to make some notes." It's like, "You're going to knock it out of the park. Good job, buddy." Like, he's just like, I don't know. I really liked him.
Nice. I didn't have a third one. I just, everybody else in this movie, I could just tell they didn't have the time to do a good job.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. All right, so you want to talk about the director and stuff?
Yeah. So I got the writers. It's written by Mike Myers. This is a Saturday Night Live sketch that he originated, and this movie is co-written with Bonnie and Terry Turner. Bonnie and Terry Turner are a husband and wife writing team that were on SNL during this period in time, but they've written a bunch of stuff. Like, this is just a little bit of their credits. They wrote Coneheads, they wrote Tommy Boy, and they created Third Rock from the Sun and That 70s Show.
And they did the Brady Bunch movie, which don't sleep on the Brady Bunch movie. That shit's funny.
I'm sleeping on the Brady Bunch movie. I didn't even include that.
No, you're missing it. You are. I'm telling you, we're doing that movie. It's funny.
I'm fine to do that movie. No problem. But yeah, this husband and wife writing team from SNL did this movie and then Wayne's World 2, which was also a big movie. But like, their credits list is crazy, and then created Third Rock and That 70s Show. That's massive.
Third Rock, I can remember you and Joe really liking that show and me not getting into it until you told me about it. French Stewart, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and
John Lithgow.
Lithgow, there you go. Yeah, I liked it.
The director is Penelope Spheris, who was hired by Lorne Michaels. She says because she had directed some music documentaries about the heavy metal scene. So like Lorne liked that she could shoot fast and that she knew the music. Because the music was going to feature so heavily in this movie, they needed someone who could do it. And she could.
Right.
And she says, and a bunch of other people have also said that, like, she clashed with Mike Myers so much on the, like, shooting of this movie that, like, he blocked her from being hired to come back and do Wayne's World 2.
Craziness.
He was really mad at her edit. Like, she didn't take enough of his editing notes when the movie was edited. And he just, like, never, I mean, he's such a control freak, like many creative geniuses are, that he just couldn't get past it. And for this, I mean, him and Dana Carvey didn't get along for years and years after this movie. Like, he was gonna, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we get to the worst.
Yeah. Well, when I looked at the stuff that this director did, I was like, oh, cool. All right. You got like Black Sheep and Senseless and Little Rascals, Beverly Hillbillies. I was like, oh, cool. She's got some stuff. And then I looked and I'm like, holy crap. She directed something in 1969.
Yeah, she was 45 when she got this movie. She'd around for a minute.
That's nuts. I never would have thunk it. You don't see the director, so I don't know what she looks like.
Right.
But I just never, I was picturing a younger director.
Bonus, good stuff. Tia Carrera said she would have never gotten cast if Myers hadn't written into the script that her part was supposed to be an Asian woman. She's like, if he didn't write Asian woman in the script, they would have just cast some like Heather Locklear blonde bombshell type. And I would have never, like, this movie launched her career in a huge way. She just said, I would have had no shot at this part if he had not written that it was an Asian woman in the script.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool. So I thought, I think that's very cool for him to have thought that and to have put it in there. And then, those.
Either that or he's just really into Asian chicks.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's Asian. She's really Asian, though. She's a panda.
Bonus good. I love the AMC Pacer with the built-in licorice dispenser and the tape deck. That's just amazing.
Absolutely. The tape deck, which switches to a CD player, which is fed into the tape deck with one of those adapters.
It's literally, it looks like a tape, except it has a wire coming out of it, and that wire plugs into the headphone jack of a CD player, and then the CD player is Velcroed onto the dash.
Like, I can't even imagine, like, I know how tapes work. I can't imagine how that thing works in a tape deck.
I can't imagine that you could just Velcro that thing to the dash and it didn't skip all the time. Because I remember when we had CD players like that you plugged into a tape deck. This is before CD players came with the electronic skip protection. You had to have the passenger hold the CD player in their hand and be a human shock absorber.
Yeah, they had to like move it with the inertia of the car, making turns, leaning it.
You had to carry it like you were carrying the green bean casserole at Thanksgiving. You had to freaking hang on to it. So I don't think the Pacer shocks were going to allow that CD to play.
But with a lot of the music they listened to, I think it was okay that it was skipping.
Yes, it was totally fine with me. I really didn't like the music at all in this movie.
When you were talking about regular fun stuff at the end, I really liked the Scooby-Doo ending. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Because I totally forgot about that.
I did too. Because we talked about some of it, like the breaking the fourth wall, the product placement. But the other thing in that list that I had was the alternate endings. They did a Scooby-Doo ending and they did a Mega Happy. I liked that they did weird stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. And like the door that they open where there's like guys rappelling and like throwing grenades and jump kicking people.
Yeah, just karate chop and stuff. Yeah, dude. So what is the thing at the very end? And he's like, all right, I think that's the end. And then they both yell the words fished in. And then they like start like pretend there's a hook in their mouth and like reeling them in.
I think that's from the sketch because I looked at when I was trying to download the trailer. They had a couple of alternate trailers, and the alternate trailers were like just extra sketches. They weren't like movie trailers. And in one of the trailers, they did that too. So I think that must have just been a bit from SNL.
I gotcha. See, there you go. I didn't know them as
I didn't either.
Wayne and Garth from SNL. So
yeah, same. No idea what that was.
Fairly certain somebody's going to write in and tell us, how can you even say you don't like it? You don't even know what it's originally from.
I'm always happy for people to write in. If they want to tell us that, I'd be happy to hear it. That's the end of the best for me.
Yeah, I got no more best. Did you want to talk about the critical reception? Rotten Tomatoes has it a 79.
Mm-hmm.
Cinema Score gave it an A-, and IMDb had it a 7.
Nice.
Movie Life Crisis has it as a
got it at a 7. 7 out of 10 Chimmy Dogs.
Yeah. So we're right in the middle.
Yeah, right in that meaty part of the curve, not showing off.
Right.
Now, let's get to the worst. What's your first worst scene or character?
I don't know. So this is the thing. I know we're supposed to have worst scenes, and I know you could probably pick 1,000 of them. But when we were talking about our favorite characters, you were talking about how much you didn't like how they acted.
Yeah.
I was trying to get past how they acted and just look at the actual characters. So I don't know what to put down for the worst scene. What I put down was that when he's at the heavy metal bar and Crucial Taunt, who is Tia Carrere's band, is playing, and he's like, "This is the Gasworks. It's a heavy metal bar." Then they're showing them play, and it's not heavy metal at all.
No.
Like the music, all of the music Crucial Taunt plays is not heavy metal, which I'm okay with. That part just was weird. I forgot what kind of music. I remember her yelling a lot, but I didn't realize it was just regular singing. And that was actually Tia Carrere singing.
Yeah, it was. And like they made a big deal about it being Tia Carrere doing the actual singing. And I kept thinking of Richard Jenney, like when the lawyers do their own commercials. It's like, why? They're so bad. Hi, my name is Marvin A. Gonoff. Because she wasn't, I mean, I guess she was okay as a like very attractive woman also singing, but I didn't like the music. I didn't like her singing.
I think with that kind of music, I mean, there is a place for people that can really sing in that type of music, but you don't need to really sing.
Well, I mean, the music they were doing, you kind of did. And the problem was it was underneath almost all of the movie. Like a third of this movie has their songs underneath it with actual Tia Carrere singing. And it's like, can I get that out of there? Can we make some?
Right. If it makes you feel any better, when you know how when Wayne sees her up on stage and Dreamweaver starts playing?
Yeah.
Dreamweaver. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was a jam.
And then you go back and find it. The good part is the part where he says, Dreamweaver, I believe. Everything else is god awful. I like that song, but only that part.
Yeah, only that one line. Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of the stuff with the music is like, I mean, you and I aren't the audience for this movie. We're a little too young and we don't like heavy metal. So I'm sure that I know there are millions of people who think that the music is amazing and that we're stupid.
We are. It's fine. I have my opinions though.
Yeah.
So I'm throwing them out there. That's all I got. What's your worst scene?
Dude, I didn't like the Laverne and Shirley throwback.
Really? I thought that was funny.
I mean,
I forgot about it until I saw it.
I forgot about it too. I mean, the thing is, it's funny for 5 seconds and then you have 60 seconds left. And now 30 years later, no one knows what that is. So like, I just think
there's a lot of stuff in here that I was like, dang, this is dated.
Right. Like another one is the Grey Poupon bit on there. Like it's only 5 seconds. You could easily cut it out, but it's going to, like, you know that joke won't age well when you make this movie. I guess you're making it so fast and for so little money that you don't care if it ages well. You're just throwing stuff at the wall to see what'll stick.
And it killed, I'm sure, in 1992 when it played.
Dude, I remember pulling up to people at red lights and rolling down the window and asking if they had any Grey Poupon. So I'm sure that it did.
Which is stupid. It's freaking mustard and it doesn't even taste good.
It doesn't. That was a hell of a marketing campaign.
Yeah, killed it.
And then the cattle prod, Garth having the cattle prod, I thought that was dumb. I didn't like, I'm not trying to nitpick. This movie was dumb and it was hilarious and it made piles and piles of money and it's super quotable.
Right.
But I didn't like the cattle prod. I didn't like Grey Poupon. I didn't like the Laverne and Shirley.
I'm with you on all of those except for Laverne and Shirley. I thought that was funny.
I just think if you're in Milwaukee, there's other stuff you could be doing.
They did the whole thing too, like the opening the doors and bumping into each other.
Yeah, and I didn't remember Laverne and Shirley because I didn't really watch it. And Wendy was like, "This is an unbelievably faithful recreation of the Laverne and Shirley intro."
It's dead on balls accurate.
Dead on balls accurate. That's an industry term.
I don't have any other worst scenes. I don't know what else I'm supposed to put in there.
I want to mention Mike Myers, not just as an actor, but because like he was actually all the stories from this movie is he was pretty terrible as a human during the film of this movie. He got the director, like, he wouldn't let her come back and do the sequel because he didn't like how she edited. She didn't take his suggestions. He was a real pain in the ass to work with. He didn't talk to Dana Carvey for like 2 decades. He tried to write Dana Carvey out of Wayne's World 2 because he was worried that Dana Carvey was a bigger star than he was. And they had arguments over who got to say the funniest lines. Like the whole crew just says like he was they remember him like storming off the set because he had a bagel, but they didn't have the right kind of margarine for it. Like just stuff like that.
That's sad.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I heard Dana Carvey talking on. There's like a 3-minute YouTube clip from last year of Dana Carvey talking in Howard Stern about him and Mike Myers having made up, and he just says, you know, he says like now that we're both grown and like the egos are out of it and we have so much shared history, he's like I really understand where he was coming from, and where he was coming from was he was a creative genius who needed everything to be a certain way, and it wasn't, and he didn't have the time or the power to make it that way, and he didn't know how to deal with it, and I understand that now, and I didn't then, and I thought that right. Kind of like put it in the perfect context. Like this guy just wanted things to be the way he wanted them to be, but he didn't have the juice to get it done. And it was probably eating him up inside that he couldn't go back and make everything perfect and like didn't have complete creative control over his project.
Which is probably why stuff like Austin Powers, when he did have that power, came out so perfect.
Well, yeah, which is why when he did Austin Powers and he had absolute control over everything in the movie, and it was freaking brilliant, and all 3 of the movies made absolute dump trucks full of money.
huge dump trucks full of money.
Yeah, but anyway, I like Mike Myers, but I do want to say, like, if you go and read stuff about when this movie came out, one of the big stories is like how big of a douche Mike Myers was to everyone involved, and how a lot of them didn't talk to him for a long time afterwards.
Hopefully he makes up with all of them, because that sucks.
Yeah, totally. I got Rob Lowe and Rob Lowe's Hammer Pants. I got Dana Carvey mouthing Bohemian Rhapsody. Schwing. Schwing is one of the worst and most annoying catchphrases of all time, and it's in this movie like 65 times. I hate it.
I don't like schwing, and you know what else I don't like? I don't like not.
Not.
I can remember that was huge.
About not. The schwing I mainly don't like that they also have like a gyration that they do with it. Like it comes with like a hip movement.
I never really liked schwing that much. I mean, I get what they're doing, and I think it's chuckle funny. But I really, like, everybody was into not, and they would like say stuff. It's like holding your hand out, like asking for a high five and somebody doing it and you pulling your hand out. They're like, yeah, dude, let's go. Come on, we'll go play basketball together. Not. And I'm like, man, what the hell?
Yeah, not is going to be terrible. Would have been terrible to deal with as a teenager or as an adult, I'm sure.
Exactly. Any other worst scenes or characters?
No.
For worse effects, every time they showed the outside of Wayne's house, or excuse me, Wayne's parents' house, so you could almost, it's like right outside of the frame, you could almost see the light that they used to light it at night. And I really didn't like that. I don't know why that was bothering me, but I was like, why is that there? It's so close, I can see it. You can tell it's just a light. But that's the only thing I had for that.
Yeah, they shot this movie in L.A., but it's supposed to be set on the outskirts of Chicago. So probably the reason that that's there is that they probably had to do a big backdrop behind the house that you can't see Los Angeles behind it. That's probably why that's framed like that. And the director also said that one of the constraints with this movie is not only do they only have 34 days to shoot, which is not very much. Like for a comedy, you probably would expect double that at least. But they had a lot of night shoots, and they shot in the summer when SNL was on break, so you don't even have a lot of darkness. Yeah, I didn't have any. I mean, there's a lot of FX in this movie that's not great. I didn't even bother capturing any of it, and I definitely didn't try to capture any of old tech because everything in this movie is so old. We'd be here for another hour.
Yeah, I did want to mention. We talked about arcades are not still a thing. In the very beginning, they had a bunch of ads, Chia Pet and the Clapper,
yeah,
stuff like that. But I did want to mention that I know Jake would ask me a question about this. When Rob Lowe's watching the show and his girlfriend's laughing, and he goes, hand me the phone. And then he dials a number, calls somebody and says, hey, turn it to channel 10. Both of those things would be weird to Jake.
Yeah, dude, there's so much talking on phones that have cords that plug into a wall in this movie.
And I did notice that Wayne had the old school yellow earbuds. And it was the yellow tape one that's got the gray and black, like it snaps closed so it doesn't get sand or water in it.
Oh yeah, I had one of those. I got one for Christmas in 1990, and the first tape that I got was Boyz II Men Cooley High Harmony.
Nice.
Bringing it back around, which did not have End of the Road or Al Final del Camino.
Or
the alternate version of It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday.
Or shoot
and the Still of the Night.
Still of the Night, thank you.
Yeah, was that in the Jackson 5?
That was
TV
on the
movie?
Jackson's miniseries. Yeah, the miniseries. All right, what else?
Unless you have any more old tech, the next thing I have is political incorrectness. I feel sure there was some, but I didn't really capture it.
I just didn't like. I know what the characters are supposed to be, but just like you were talking about, like the swing and like, all right, now we're going to make a Claudia Schiffer, and they bring her, like they hold a poster of her up, and then they point their boners at it. I didn't like that whole thing. Tia Carrere was always wearing like next to nothing. And there was hardly any black people. I don't remember seeing a black person, do you?
No, I mean, I don't know that the heavy metal scene in Milwaukee or in outside of Chicago would have had a lot of black people, but there definitely were not any in this movie.
There's definitely black people there, though.
Yes.
Even if you put them as extras walking in the back, it's not like...
I've been to Chicago. They got black people for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the speaking roles, it makes sense that they're all long-haired white kids, but there could be black people elsewhere in the movie for sure. And it's, even though Tia Carrere is a major character and has a big part, this movie's not... It fails the Bechdel test in a big way. She never talks to another woman, and she never talks about anything except Wayne and her music.
And Stacy, poor Stacy.
Yeah, Laura Flynn Boyle.
She kills the dude.
Yeah.
She rides that bike into that freaking Trans Am.
Yeah, political incorrectness, it's very whitewashed, and the women are treated like objects.
Yeah, that's all I had.
All right.
Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such educational films as 2 minus 3 equals negative fun and Firecrackers, the Silent Killer.
The Silent Killer.
I just love Firecrackers, the Silent Killer. I got a bunch of cameos for this one. The first one I have is Mike Haggerty, who's the TV station guy with the big like walrus mustache. Did you see that guy?
Yeah.
He's been around forever. He was in Friends, Seinfeld, Cheers, The Wonder Years, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Damn.
Like he's been in everything. But as soon as I saw
didn't
him,
recognize him from any of that.
It was a definition of like, oh shit, that guy. I know that guy. And I looked him up and I was like, oh yeah, he's been in everything.
Nice. First dude I wrote down is Meatloaf, but we already talked about him.
Meatloaf as the bouncer, whose name in the movie was Tiny. Robert Patrick, one of our favorite double first named guys, cameoing as the T-1000 in this movie.
Dude, he looked like he was going to run after the car too. He was like,
I know. I thought he was going to run after the Pacer. See, the weird thing is, like, as much as I didn't like the Laverne and Shirley and the Grey Poupon, the Terminator 2 bit is still like it still works because Terminator 2 is still such a huge movie. But you can't know that at the time.
Yeah. Chris Farley is the next person I put.
That's the last guy I got. He's the bouncer at the Alice Cooper show who has lots of information about where to find the record executive.
Strangely, lots of information. I also wrote down Al Bundy and Brian Doyle Murray, but we already talked about them.
Yeah, and they weren't really cameos because they both had a lot of lines. Laura Flynn Boyle, same way. But yeah, dude, Al Bundy was great. Brian Doyle Murray was great.
Yeah, that's all I got for cameos.
All right, 5 questions. Is it okay for kids? What age?
I gave it 11 or 12.
Nice.
There's a lot of S words. They talk about their junk a lot.
Yep.
There is, again, we talked about objectifying women. Even when it's like gratuitous sex scene, it actually says that on the screen. And then Wayne turns around as he's laying on top of her and goes, nice.
Yeah.
And he's wearing tighty whities. Like all of that stuff. The Foxy Lady bit.
Yeah.
Where he's just constantly dry humping in the air, thrusting his pelvis, the cream of some men guy, stuff like that. I think you got to put it at 11. That way you're holding it off just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And then like violent, there's not a lot of violence, but like Al Bundy talks about ripping out the guy's heart and he stabs him with the cattle prod and stuff like that. But I say 11 or 12.
Nice. Wait, speaking of cream of some young guy, when they were ordering Chinese food and Rob Lowe orders in Cantonese, Mike Myers makes a joke. Yeah, as long as it's not cream of some young guy. And apparently there was a big discussion on the set, because that was an ad lib, about whether that joke was funny or whether it was not funny because it was too dirty.
It was definitely funny.
Yeah, and obviously they ended up thinking that it was funny enough to leave it in, but Rob Lowe said that they left it in for a test audience. So like they showed it on the Paramount lot to a room of like 25 people that's a test audience. And they said that the laugh was so big that you missed like the next 4 lines of dialogue.
Nice.
So like you can see in the version that you and I watched that came out theatrically, after he drops that line, there's a really long reaction shot where like Wayne and Garth and Tia all laugh at it because
they're like chuckling. Yeah,
they had to go edit in a pause for the audience to be able to laugh because it ended up being one of the biggest laughs of the movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like all those ad libs end up being the the funniest.
Yeah,
ones.
being the really cool stuff. I mean, that's not cool. That's stupid. But it was definitely funny when I was 12.
Oh man, was it? So would this movie get made if it was pitched now?
I mean, if Mike Myers pitches it, I'm sure he could do whatever he wants. Dana Carvey, maybe not. I don't think he can get his. I don't think he can get his movies made.
So, if it's going to be, is it going to be a movie or a TV show? If they do it, could they make this a TV show?
I think so. I think you could make the Wayne's World TV show like the centerpiece of a TV show like 30 Rock, a TV show about a TV show.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because think about it, it's actually like the setting is not that different from like Freaks and Geeks or that 70s show where it's just like a bunch of burnouts who sit in a basement and talk about stuff.
Right. They should do that.
Yeah, I mean, like the next question is who plays the lead if we remake it. I just can't, like some of these movies, I just don't know how to I don't know how to answer that. How can I put someone else in a role that Mike Myers originated and played really famously and really, how can I put somebody else in that? I just don't know how to do that.
So I pulled myself away from that question because I had the same thing. And I said, all right, I'm only going to use people that are on SNL now.
Oh, nice.
And I'm going to let them make it what they want, but it's going to be the same story. So it might not be called Wayne's World. It might be called whatever, Wanda's World, and now it's women. So I did do Benjamin, who is Rob Lowe's character. Colin Jost has to play him, no matter if it's women or men. Because I like that dude, and he could play that part, I think.
Yeah.
And then for Wayne and Garth, I was thinking either Kristen Wiig and Kate McKinnon or Kenan Thompson and Michael Shea.
Yeah. Kenan Thompson and Michael Shea would be pretty funny, but so would Kristen Wiig and Kate, whatever her name is. I don't watch Saturday Night Live. I don't know who the hell is on this show.
Yeah, I had to look it up. Yeah, I was going to say, I saw their faces, and I was like, yeah, wait, I know those people. That's the route I went. I just tried to keep it in Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I think that's about as good as you could do. I mean, I guess you could probably reboot this if Wayne and Garth like now have kids and their kids are in their basement and they're, dicking around and they're funny. Like, I don't know. But I just think Mike Myers and Dana Carvey would have to be involved if you're going to like relaunch this movie in a big way. Can you still watch and enjoy this movie in 2022? I can. I did.
I surprisingly did. By the time I got to the end, I was like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like this movie a lot more than Under Siege and not as much as My Cousin Vinny or as Sister Act. That's where I'm at.
Oh, man. If Under Siege makes it ahead of any movie this year, something's wrong.
Yeah, it is in dead last, and it probably will stay there. All right, cool. Where can you find this movie? I found it. It's on Amazon Prime for rent. I didn't find it anywhere streaming for free.
I couldn't find it either.
Next episode is Sneakers. Which I'm super excited about. Sidney Poitier, Robert Redford.
I'm really excited about it too. I can't wait.
So please remember to subscribe, to rate, to review. The best thing that you could do if you want to help us out is to keep listening, number one. That's by far the best. And the number two is just to tell people that you think might be into it, because we're very much in a word of mouth stage. So if you made it this far, it means you really like what we're doing. Feel free to tell.
And tell people in weird places.
Yes, in weird places.
I want to put the push pin in.
And also, we made a Discord if you want to chat with us about the movies, either past or upcoming. Feel free to join. If you know what Discord is, we will be there. Party on, Wayne.
Yeah, party on, Garth.
Thanks for listening to Movie Life Crisis. Please subscribe, rate, and review. And remember, don't drive angry.